All right. Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name is Ray, the Market Trader, and let's get started. All right. So we'll start off with the risk disclosure here, guys. Again, just to remind everyone that the content that's being published and distributed by the Market Trader is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. Use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, represent. Excuse me. Representatives, agents, employees, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. Future trading does contain a fair amount of risk. An investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital, money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle, should be used for trading. Nothing contained herein is a solicitation, an offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, to buy, sell futures, options, or Forex. And then ultimately, past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right. So now that we've gotten the risk disclosure out of the way, guys, we're going to go ahead and move into the financials news portal and see what it has to offer. Okay. So a fair amount of news today that has already been reported into the market. We have consumer spending, we have Chicago PMI, and then we have some more pressers and reports coming out of Trump as a result of his meeting with President Zelensky. Okay. And then we have Fed member Goodsby speaking, but that's coming in after the market. So most of the news is already available and in the markets as we speak. We have some minor I would say events here later this afternoon. Okay, so now that we have an idea of the news, we'll go ahead and move into our charts here and get a sense for what the market is trying to accomplish here. Okay. So let's go ahead and move into the charts. Okay, we'll go ahead and start with our normal market. That is the gold. Okay, that's not quite the. Let's see. Stop this one and share a different portal here. See if I can locate it. Give me a second, guys. There it is. Okay, so I'm looking at the daily chart. I'm just doing some analysis here. And you can see that gold is, let's see, let's go ahead and stop replay here. Gold has broken some structure here to the downside. Okay, so I was kind of looking at it as I was doing some analysis yesterday, and you can see that gold is beginning to break some structure to the downside. Now, assuming that this holds, this opens the door for maybe some additional downside pressure in the gold market. Okay, and that could lead us all the way down to 2,800. Okay, I don't see anything that stands in the way of a possible of this move. Okay, at the moment. Okay, the key I would say is that the result of this candle here. Okay, is this candle going to remain below this area of 2870? Okay, and if it does remain below 2870, I think that we have a reasonable chance of getting back down to 2,800 and maybe down to 2,780. Okay, so this is the first, I would say, first indication where I've seen a little bit of weakness in the gold market. Okay, this is our second. We had yesterday break a channel to the upside. Now we have a continuation candle that left a little bit of a gap. Okay, and we had a gap open to the downside. Okay, so this is indications to me that we could continue to see some downside pressure in the gold market. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart is starting to give us kind of a market structure that indicates that we may see more bearish activity. We have lower lows and lower highs in this market, and we have a strong developing bearish engulfing candle as we speak. Okay, moving on to the 30-minute chart. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and remove this channel because we've gotten what we wanted out of that. Again, we are seeing further pressure, okay, to the downside in this market. Okay, so you can see again with even more clarity how we continue to make these lower lows and lower highs. Okay, every attempt to get above some structure has been met with some selling. Okay, so let's take a look at what the volume profile has to say, but I suspect that it's going to tell us that we are in a little bit of some structure here to the downside. Okay, so here we are. We're well past value from yesterday. Okay, right. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight the value area low. There it is. Okay, so I suspect that this area here is going to be an area of resistance. Okay, and again, I'm not sure it's going to make it back there today. Maybe it does, but that I would suspect that area could offer us a nice opportunity for a downside trade. Okay, we have our initial balance that's kind of working its way through here. The next thing that I'm going to add is our anchored VWAP. Anchored VWAP, I'm going to put at the top of the market here. Not the top, but at the top of the London market. Okay, so right about there. Okay, and you can see that price has made it below London. London made somewhat of an attempt here to get price higher. Okay, created a little bit of a double bottom, got up to an area of resistance and failed miserably. Okay, so again, fair amount of pressure. I would say bearish pressure daily is developing some things that could cause price to continue to the downside. Okay. Excuse me. Let's take a look and add our price levels to this chart before we move on to our next market. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add here our here are our price levels. We're going to spot check our value area low is coming in at 2284. We're going to modify that a little bit. Okay, 2284. And then our value area high is coming in at 2897, which is fine. That's accurate. Okay. Let's see if I can move this off a little bit. Yeah, something like this. Okay. So these are the levels that we're tracking in this market. Again, I think we need to see if we can find some opportunities that would allow us for bearish trades. Okay, in this market. Okay. Okay, that's I think the operand. So I would say that opportunities, any sort of pullback to VWAPs, extensions to the downside here. I think with maybe a pullback to a known level, I think is the path forward here. Okay, we're starting to break again, as I mentioned, some daily structure. All right, to the downside, and that could lead to a significant move, I would say, in this market. Okay. All right. With that said, we'll close off with that. Okay. I had 2860 as kind of a level in the past that could be supportive. Not really showing any signs of that at the moment. Okay. But nonetheless, I think the market is kind of changing a little bit of character. Okay, away from this kind of bullish run that it's been in to more of a bearish opportunity here. Okay, so we need to find areas of strength. Okay, so maybe 2870 could be that area where it could offer us maybe a location for a further move to the downside. If I get an extension of initial balance low, then maybe the low of initial balance could offer us some opportunities to the downside. But right now, I would say that going into today, it does appear that it is a market that I want to be short in. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the crude oil market. Okay. Taking a look at the crude. Again, we'll start off with the daily chart. Daily chart here. Okay. And then get a sense for what the market is trying to accomplish here. We're going to, these levels I have here are our old levels. So we're just going to take a look. So we remain in bearish structure here. Okay. We're starting to see a little bit more signs of buyers coming into areas that we are maybe could be supportive. Okay. But nonetheless, we haven't really broken any significant levels or structure to the upside. So on the daily chart, we remain bearish. Moving on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, again, we have our series of lower lows and lower highs. Okay. We had a series of bullish candles here over during Wednesday's trade, but then that again has been met with some sellers as it got close to some resistance areas. It wasn't able to sustain it and get above and break some structure here. So again, we remain in this kind of bearish channel. Okay, bearish channel here to the downside. Okay. That's what it looks like to me. Okay. All right. So 4-hour is bearish. I would say that we need to get above 70-40. All right. Ultimately 71 to really change the structure here. Now, another important level, I guess, if I were a bull here, bullish. Okay. Okay. This area right here. Okay. We had a series of bullish activity to the upside. Now the question is this area here going to be supportive? Okay, if it's going to remain, if prices are going to have a tough time getting into this area, then maybe we have maybe an opportunity after we get above 70-50 for a move, for a potential move higher. But I do need to see structure to lead the way here. Okay. We are seeing some volume delta to indicate there are some buyers potentially stepping into this market here. Okay. But for me, I need some additional information here. Okay. So I'm going to move down to the 30-minute chart. Okay. 30-minute chart. I'm going to go ahead and remove the channels. It served this purpose here. I might even modify it with a different channel here. I see that we have some evidence here that maybe we are about to get maybe a move higher here. Okay, we have our initial balance range. Okay, this is in blue. This is our initial balance range. We are still technically below VWAP. Okay, so this could serve as an area maybe for additional move to the downside. Okay, here, right? We made some attempts here to go higher, but that's been met with some sellers. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and add my fixed range volume profile to this chart. Okay. Fixed range volume profile. I'm going to go ahead and take a look and see where price is in relation to yesterday's volume here. Okay. So we'll go ahead and look, start off here, this here, and then kind of drag this across. There we are. Okay. So similar to what we were seeing in the gold, we are seeing that crude oil is below value from yesterday, so that we could be getting some acceptance of value lower. Okay. So, and the fact that we are on a trending VWAP here, this could continue, could offer us maybe some additional move here to the downside. All right. I'm going to go ahead and add my price levels to this chart. Okay, so the levels that I'm going to be tracking. The other thing that I didn't do, I think, on the other chart, but I think is available here, is our ADR and ASR levels. I'm going to go ahead and add those here just to get a sense for where we are with relation to those. So we're still in the middle on the average session range, and let's see where we are. Average daily range, we've already reached. Okay, so this area right here could potentially be supportive. I see an area here on the left on the 30-minute chart that has been supportive in the past. But until I get price above VWAP, I'm not interested. Or better yet, if I can get an extension of price above initial balance, then it opens up the door for maybe a move back up to 70. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing in the crude oil market. Where it looks like we are at an area of support. Okay, average daily range has been exhausted. Now we could be developing some structure here for maybe a move back to the upside, and I would say 70,004 or maybe back to the highs of Thursday is not out of the question. Okay. Let's go ahead and move into the equities. Okay. Okay. But before we do that, again, guys, if you are benefiting from these reviews and from this analysis, please do not hesitate to hit the like button. Leave a comment or two on the portal, letting everybody know how this analysis has benefited you in your analysis of the markets. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and move on. All right. So here we are looking at this. Let's take a look at this from a daily perspective. Okay. So you can see that the NASDAQ has been on a serious move to the downside. We have broken some structure here. 21,000 was one of those levels. Okay, similar to gold here. Okay, this is kind of a change of character here a little bit. All right, so not changing character so much that the fact that we've been bearish here since maybe I don't know, since February, I guess 19th or so. But in any case, the idea is that we're starting to see some daily charts break below some support levels here. Okay. 21,000 was a level that I was watching quite intently. Our volume delta is showing that we are getting a fair amount of sellers in this market. I'm looking to the left here. We have reached this, I would say, an area of support. And I would say that 20,000 is certainly not out of the question based on this move that we're seeing at the moment. All right, moving on to the 4-hour chart. Okay, daily is indicating some bearish activity here. We're going to turn off our levels here for the moment. Okay, and take a look and see. Again, we have a series of lower lows and lower highs. And again, we continue to build up some structure for maybe a potential additional move here to the downside. I'm going to go ahead and remove my drawings here. We'll move on to the 30-minute chart. Okay, so a 30-minute chart. We overnight trading really hasn't offered us much of anything. The news that we received did not really impact the markets all that much. Okay, so we're kind of stuck in this range. You're welcome, George. Okay, so in any case, guys, the idea here is that we are in an area, we are kind of in a range as of the close or as of the close to the close yesterday. So not sure exactly, with all the news that happened this morning, thought maybe this could maybe stimulate the market to do one of something here. But right now it seems to be ranging. I'm going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile here. We'll take a look and see where price is in relation to yesterday. And I suspect we kind of know the answer to this question. But nonetheless, we are below value. Okay, so there is some acceptance of value that's taking place here. Okay. We have a head and shoulder pattern. Let's see. Head and shoulder. I'm not sure I see it. In order to be ahead, if this is what you're talking about here, I need this to be a little bit more distinct, right? This needs to be up higher, no? To be ahead, right? Oh, inverted? Now, even inverted, I'm not sure that this is strong enough. I guess it depends on how you draw this, But yeah, if you stretch it out enough, then maybe you could make potentially a case for that. I'm not sure. Okay. All right, David. I'm not sure. It's a possibility, but I would say that it's more maybe a bottom maybe is kind of establishing here. Maybe. In any case, let's move on with our analysis here. So I'm going to go ahead and add our levels to this chart here. Okay. So right now, it appears that the market is content at its current level. I'm not seeing anything in the way of significant moves. Okay, our VWAP is kind of sloping flat here. Okay, so and we're kind of bouncing in and out of it. Okay, so we'll have to wait to see if the market does. Ideally, I would if I was kind of on the bearish side. Ideally, I would like to see maybe a run up to value area low, and then that value area low may be offering me a location for where I could take an execution to the downside. That would be a logical. Now, the fact that we are kind of creating kind of some structure here, we've lost a little bit of momentum here to the downside. So I would suspect, like I said before, that maybe there is a maybe some maybe a bullish move maybe brewing, okay, in this market. um maybe back up to value area low, and at which point maybe that could offer us maybe an opportunity to the downside. Okay, but for me, I would need to see price get above this level right here with some volume. It's not supportive, it's resistant. Okay, this dashed line, 20,684. I would need to see price get above that area with some volume. Okay, something along these kind of lines with some volume in order for me to really kind of entertain maybe a possibility of a bullish trade to the upside, because it does appear that we are maybe developing some bottom here a little bit. Okay. All right. Let's see what else. I'm going to add here my fixed range volume profile. Now, I already did that. I'm going to add my anchored VWAP. That's what I meant to say here to this market. And like I said, this anchored VWAP is not going to give us too much more insights than we already have received. Okay, from the daily VWAP, we see that price is kind of waffling above and below it. So I would say that the VWAP is not offering us much in the way of insight at the moment. Seems like we are very much in range, and we could easily remain in range for the remainder of the day. Okay, nothing in here is indicating to me any sort of direction. I'm going to wait for the initial balance range to establish on this market, and if it does offer me something, I'm going to wait for a directional move. I'm going to wait for participants to kind of drive price one direction or the other. Right? It's either going to need to be above here or below here, one of the two. Right? And then I'll react. I do not want to be a part of this action here. Okay, this is not price action that is conducive to success. Okay, I need to see price move out of ranges before I'm willing to participate in that. At the end of the day, I'm a trend trader, not a range trader. Okay, all right. Let's see. Anything else? I did add my levels to this chart. We'll make them very visible to folks. We have 20,000. See, value area low here is a little bit off. So we're going to call this 843. 843 is our value area low. And I suspect that we can open up our ADR and ASR here. ADR and ASR is probably what's going to change the most here. So 21,000. Yeah, we're well below it here. Let's modify that. That's New York. So let's change that to London, since New York is technically not open at the moment. And so there's our range for London. Okay, we have 20,000. What is it? 20,523. Okay, average session range low. 20,523. Okay. And then on the upside, we have 20,798. So, okay, 798. So this could serve as areas of resistance. Okay, this again, notice how this 798 is close to the proximity of value area low here. Okay, so I could see price, head to that 20,800 level before we see any sort of reversal in price. Okay. So that's certainly a possibility. And since we're hovering around, let's open up ADR. So I do see that there may be a little bit, maybe a one more push here to the downside before we could see that reversal back to the upside. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm seeing in the Nasdaq right now. I see that it's in range. Overnight really didn't offer much of anything as far as direction. We had a relatively strong sell-off here during Thursday's trade. So this could be potentially a repair day. But for me, for it to be a repair day, it needs to start to pass through the single prints that it formed here on the left-hand side. All right. So right now, I would have to say that I'm going to have to sit on my hands, wait for the initial balance range to establish, decide if the market participants are going to drive price in any direction, up or down. I would say right now my feeling is up, but we are starting to see a change in character in this market. So maybe we are building a case for maybe another leg to the downside. Can't rule that out, right? So in any case, I'm going to need some sort of move one way or the other before I participate in this market. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the ES market and ultimately the Dow, and we'll go ahead and close off the session. We'll go ahead and move on to the daily chart. Again, we see that we've started to see some price structure or price events that indicate that we could be seeing a move further to the downside here. Okay, we have a series of candles here that have all been bearish. We're at an area here where we should expect some support here. Okay, right around this 58.50 level. That should be supportive. It's been supportive in the past. Certainly 57.25 or 57.25 is another area that we should see some support. So we're at these levels now. The question is it going to offer us another leg to the upside? Okay. You're welcome, Frizu. All right, moving on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart. Again, we have our series of lower lows and lower highs in this market. Okay. Again, question is, do we follow this continued trend? I think that's kind of the mode that we should be in. I would say, I think we need to look for some bearish trades, and I would say that we need to continue to focus on selling strength. Okay, that's I think the path of least resistance and the best path for success. Okay, not really interested necessarily in participating in sells in areas where I'm paying a little bit of retail. Okay, I'd like to participate in sells up closer to areas of the origination of sells. Okay, back up here at say 59.60. That seems to be kind of a logical area for me to take an execution to the downside, right? Areas where I see significant participation to the downside, not in areas where I'm seeing meager, participation at the moment. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. There's our average session and daily ranges. Okay. We do appear to be in some sort of, kind of corrective pattern after our little impulse move to the downside. So again, that could spell a leg to the downside. Again, as we kind of discussed already in the other charts here. Okay, let's take a look at the fixed range volume profile. I think I know the answer to this question, but we want to see where price is in relation to value. We see that our value area low. Okay, we see that price is below value. All right, again, a lot of confluence here around this 59.20, 59.20 level. This is a logical area for me for an execution, okay, to the downside, 59.20, okay? A lot of confluence here, right? We have value area low, we have ASR high, we have ADR high, all providing us a reference level that could offer us an execution without taking all that much in the way of risk. Because if price manages to get above or inside value and above ASR and ADR, or average daily range and average session range, then obviously, my view was important, and there's more momentum to the upside in the market. Okay. All right. So that's kind of my view here in the ES. We're going to go ahead and add my price reference levels to this chart. Okay. And there it is. Our price reference levels for this chart are there. I'm going to go ahead and add our anchored VWAP here. It's not telling us much of, wasn't telling us much of anything in the NASDAQ. We see that price is below it, and it's working its way to get below VWAP. So yeah, maybe we do see another leg to the downside, okay, in this market, assuming we can get below VWAP and ultimately make a new low here below 58.74. Then maybe we see a leg further here. Now, the only thing that's causing me a little bit of caution here is the fact that the proximity of our average session range lows. But otherwise, it does appear that we are in kind of a bearish structure here. Okay, let's make sure that's visible here. All right, so let's close off our session and our review here with a review of the Dow. Okay, so taking a look at the Dow, we'll start off with the daily chart, and up until as we were doing this review in the past, the Dow has always been the one that's been the most of whatever direction it's been going. Okay. If we're bearish, Dow has been the most bearish, and I'm not seeing that as much in the case now. Okay, so I see that the equities, the ES and the Nasdaq, I would say, appear a bit more bearish than the Dow at the moment. Okay, we are starting to see maybe a little bit of structure around an area of demand that could offer maybe a support to a leg to the upside. Okay. We need to start seeing some structure. Okay, no, don't misinterpret what I'm saying here. I do feel that we are still in bearish structure here. Okay, there's nothing in here that indicates to me that we're bullish in the most recent candles here. Okay, but I am seeing that we are, beginning to make some attempts. The volume delta is not as strong. The momentum is not as strong. We're seeing more in the way of overlapping candles, which indicate to me that maybe there is a turn in the works in the Dow. All right. Moving on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, again, we see a lot of overlapping candles, much like we saw the other equity markets. We did get a push below, but really not much of a follow through in that move to the downside. Okay. So in some cases, it appears that maybe again they use that as an opportunity for accumulation here. Okay, so but we're not out of the woods yet. We need to get above 43. I would say 43,800 here to really kind of embrace any sort of long trade in this market. At least on the 4-hour chart, we need to see price break this structure to the upside in order for us to really embrace longs in this market. All right, moving on to the 30-minute chart. Okay, so we are inside ranges. Okay, developing a relatively nice bearish candle. Price is above VWAP. Okay, I would say that this price is much stronger. Okay, above VWAP than what we saw in the other equity markets. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add my anchored VWAP to the start of London, which was down here somewhere. Okay, there it is, start of London. Okay, and you can see that price is below that at the moment. Okay. We are developing what appears to be a kind of a nice three bar reversal pattern, okay, in this market, which could lead to additional move to the downside here. Okay. Let's go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile. We're going to take a look at the start of Thursday here. There we are. Drag this across. Okay. You can see that price is currently reacting away from value. Okay, away from value. That's significant. Okay, we're at a logical reference level, right, where we could see a potential move to the downside. Okay, and we really don't need to risk all that much in relation to the possible move here, right? So if this is indeed the case and we do get a close below this anchor VWAP and then ultimately this daily VWAP, well, we see that it's rejected value, right? So we could see another leg to the downside in this market. Okay. Now I do not have levels. Well, actually, we're going to talk through some levels here with you guys. We have average session range at 43,586. We have average session range low here at 43,201. And then we have what? Let's see. Open up our ADR here is already open. We have what appears, I think ADR is right below at the same levels as our ASR here. Okay. So we have average daily range low at 43,000. Okay. So we just had the market open. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my initial balance range. Okay. So there's my initial balance range. So I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait for this range to establish. It looks like we had a strong number of buyers here come in, at least 1,000 buyers kind of step into this market here, right around this VWAP here. I would say, again, to really entertain a long in this market, I really need to see price get above or inside value. Okay. I really need to see price get inside 525. Okay. 520. Okay. And really to really embrace a long here. Okay. We did get a little bit of a rejection away from value. The question now is it going to sustain? If it's going to sustain, then I would say that 43,200 is not out of the realm of possibility as a target for this market. Okay. So I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait for this initial balance range to establish. Like I said, if we do manage to get back inside value, that could offer us an opportunity for a full rotation of value in this market. Okay. My feeling is that that we are going to remain below this value area range, and at some point we will be getting a leg, maybe a stronger leg here to the downside. But I don't rule out the possibility. Okay, if price does manage to get inside value, then I think it does open up the door for maybe a repair day, and we could potentially get back to the highs of Thursday here to close out the week. Okay, so that's kind of what I have for the markets, guys. Again, just to summarize, I think we were kind of looking a bit bearish in the gold. I'm just going to take a little quick peek here, just to see where we are. We continue in our bearish move, okay, to the downside. Crude oil, I think, is equally as bearish. Okay, see another leg here to the downside. And then equities, we had the NASDAQ that was kind of showing signs of weakness as well. Okay, so there we are. And then ES also, I believe, should be following suit here, all indicating further potential of downside moves here. So it appears to me across the board in the gold, in the crude, in the equities, that we are probably headed for another leg to the downside. Okay, so that's it for me, guys. Again, if you found this helpful and you find this helpful in your review and analysis of the markets, please don't be shy with your comments. Please don't be shy with your likes and subscribes and things of that nature. Make those comments heard in the portal, and once the video becomes available there. And again, thank you, Camila. Thank you for your feedback. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me. Again, today is Friday. I'd like to term it as Capital Preservation Friday, guys. So this is not a day that we want to give up all our profits in one fall swoop. Okay, but if the opportunity presents itself, we want to take those opportunities as they become available to us as well. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me. Again, trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. All right, guys. Have a great session, and we'll talk next week.